Share to the live thing.
And welcome in. It is James Phillips here on Live at 9. It's a Wednesday morning, and it's Wellness Wednesday this week. We've got representatives from HARTT. Tina Aaron, as you all know, she's been in a few times. And Tina, I'll let you introduce who you have with us and what our topic's going to be focusing on today.
Okay, good morning. We're excited to be here again this morning, and I have Tiffany Stewart. She's one of our counselors, and we're going to talk about seasonal affective disorder.
So tell everybody, what is seasonal affective disorder?
I think everybody's probably more familiar with kind of the term, kind of the winter blues.
Right.
And we were kind of scheduled last Wednesday to come on, and it was like a cold, dreary day. Would have been a perfect day to talk about it. Today's a beautiful, sunny day, but, just the time change, people are already talking about they feel different. It's dark when they wake up. It's dark when they get home, not having enough sunlight. Just the cold, the weather, all those kind of things can affect people differently. And we can kind of get ahead of it a little bit and get some tips and kind of prepare for maybe that little depression that may set in.
Right, and that's something, the seasonal depression thing, I think a lot of people think, oh, whatever, but it really is a real thing that affects a lot of people.
It does.
What do you think is the reasoning behind it? Like, why is it just the wintertime, or what's the different take on it?
Well, it's the less daylight, so it messes with your internal clock. And so we're getting into the season where, like I said, the sunlight is less. And so it also comes around the same time as holidays. And so holidays are another trigger for a lot of people this time of year. And so it's like Tina said, like you wake up and it's dark and you go to bed and it's dark. And so that's one reason why Tina's going to talk about a little bit later about the light that we're giving away, because one way that we can kind of combat the seasonal depression is sitting near a window, even 20 to 30 minutes outside, maybe a short walk in the yard or anything. Any extra light will help regulate your body and set you up for a good sleep cycle, which is kind of another thing that it affects.
Right, and do you think, you talked about the holidays possibly being a part of it, like grief is a big thing too during that time?
Yeah, a lot of triggers around the holidays. So we obviously all have somebody who's not around the table anymore. And so I feel like, especially if you have littles at home or children, then there's kind of like an expectation that I have to be happy, or Christmas has to look a certain way, or whatever. And so sometimes what we do is we kind of ignore the elephant in the room of like, I really miss that person that's not here anymore, and those things. And so it just creates this cycle of triggers. You miss somebody, there's less sunlight, we're not as active usually in the winter, especially because it's too cold and those things. And so it honestly just creates a cycle that just is why seasonal depression is so prevalent.
Right. This is just from personal experience. This is going to be my first holidays without my dad, and so what do you say to people who are going through grief, and it could be a trigger, but is it better to talk about that relative, like bring up things at the family gathering, laugh about it, remember those good memories, instead of just everybody staying away from it and letting it be an elephant in the room?
I definitely think so. You can't speak for every person, because every person does grieve differently and how they would want to go about it. But I know with my family, I would love for them to talk about the relatives that aren't there anymore. I know some people will set up a picture and do a candle. And it's just like that person is here with us even though they're not. And so, again, every family is different. But I think it does help to talk about that person, to talk about memories that you had with that person and those things. And you may laugh about it and you may cry about it, but it's okay to feel those things.
Yeah. Well, a good cry is good to let out every now and then.
Right, and then you can go eat like some pecan pie or pumpkin pie, and then, because
right.
You're going to want carbs anyway with the seasonal depression,
right.
so,
that'll get everybody feeling better.
Right, yeah. So
Chocolate ice cream is my right.
I'm telling you, there is very little that chocolate ice cream cannot fix for me too. So
Well, that chocolate cake from Black Rock I had last night would fix a whole lot of things
Yeah.
too. So
Honestly, anything from Black Rock makes me feel
yeah,
better.
everything was good last night.
yeah, and so with the depression, I just made a little note that we're obviously talking about carbs and the good stuff, but some foods that you can eat during this time of year that help with is foods rich in vitamin D, because we are have less sunlight. So you can eggs, anything with omega-3s like walnut, salmon, anything like that will obviously give you some vitamin D. You may want to just get some vitamin D gummies this time of year and those things. And so we're just trying to meet that deficiency of the sunlight and those things, and then of course still have our chocolate ice cream and those things too.
Well, and the big thing like now is it gets dark. Yesterday was what, 5:30? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was
It's
already
gonna-
getting dark at
I was
5.
about to say, it's going to get less and less, right?
Yeah, yeah. Shortest day of the year will be coming up before too long.
And then the sun doesn't come up till, it seems like it don't come up till later, like,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I mean it's
6:30,
dark like they were
sun's
saying.
coming
It's
up.
dark when you get up. It's dark when you
Yeah.
get home.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of time. I guess though, but exercise is going to be very important during this time, and finding a time to do that, whether it's walk around your neighborhood really early in the morning or going to the gym. I know with it being cold too, it's hard to get out, but it's still something that people need to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely know that movement, it boosts your endorphins, and that's what we need. So when we are depressed and those things, we need endorphins to make us feel good. And so that's why we crave the carbs and those things, because they do, give us those endorphins, not necessarily the ones that we want sometimes, because we want it to be sustained and all of that. So you can, elderly, if they could, walk a few circles in their living room, or, do some stretches at night, anything like that. So any just creative ways that you can get movement in really, really will be helpful.
Yeah.
My
Now,
my doctor told me that to go to Walmart and just take some laps around Walmart.
Oh, I love that idea, because
You're
then the
warm.
temperature is probably going to be
Yeah.
good, right?
that's a terrible idea though. If I walk in Walmart, there's going to be stress.
Maybe the mall too.
Yeah, I was going to say I think the mall would be
Okay,
much
let's- yeah,
better.
let's maybe do the mall
mall,
instead of
yeah.
Walmart. I like that idea.
I can just drive in the Walmart parking lot and it causes stress. I definitely don't want to go inside.
Right.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. So,
Well, if you go to Walmart and just take some extra.
yeah.
So, Tina, what else what were you going to bring up earlier? You had mentioned that she had.
Well, a few of the things also that you can do. We have this little thing here we're going to give away called the Happy Light.
Yeah.
So again, to kind of replace some sunlight, and you can do it a few times a day, and the instructions will be in there. There's 3 different settings on here, so it gives you, it doesn't be like right in your face, but if it was right here at my desk or on the kitchen table or whatever, it's just giving you again that light.
Yeah.
So we're going to be giving this away, and all you have to do is go to our website, HARTT.WalkerCounty.org, and the very first box that pops up says join our newsletter. And when you join our newsletter, you're automatically entered to win, and then
Right.
we're going to give this away Friday.
Yeah, so
To
everybody,
somebody,
and
yeah.
hey, Friday will be a good day to get it too, because it's supposed to be bad weather on
Might be,
Friday.
yes.
Yeah.
So get this Friday, and they're not that expensive. I think we paid maybe $60 for this when they had probably lesser
Yeah.
lesser prices. So it's just different things you can do. There's all kind of things out there now to do, and I think also check on your people. Check on your elderly people that, and give them some tips and share things with them.
Well, do you see a lot of times that people who, now this is going to come from personal experience, and I'm talking about her. But is there, because Andrea's depression started more as seasonal depression, and then after a long period of time, it kind of turned into a continuous depression sometimes. Do you see a lot of that? Like people start out with a seasonal depression, and if they don't talk to somebody, or that it.
I think that I had like seasonal depression, just like average depression, I guess. But then as things happen in your life,
Yeah.
trauma, then that depression becomes like an issue all year.
Right.
Yeah, and so with that, the seasonal depression, the definition of it is that it does get better in the spring and in the summer. And so with clinical depression, I like to call it as it's a depression without a season.
Right.
So it just is, and so.
Well, and that's what my depression was like. It was like all of a sudden, wow, I'm depressed. And I didn't know how it got there, where
Right.
it came from. I used to handle stress much better, and then it was, whoa. So,
Yeah, so how did you feel when that first came on? Did you just have loneliness, or how did you just feel in general? What were some of the things that you felt with that?
mine really started with like irritability.
Okay.
Because
yeah.
I was always such a laid back, just easygoing guy. And I started noticing that I was, just getting lit at the
Yeah.
drop of a hat. And
Yeah.
I was getting really mad. And, you're going to take it out on wife or kids.
Yes.
So they're the first people that get that. Everybody else gets the nice version of the James,
Right.
Right.
But then it just kind of continued to get worse until I was like, I got to go see somebody. So,
Right, and so I just commend that self-awareness of, like, I just feel off,
Yeah.
like I feel this is not how I normally react to things. This is not how I want to react and to my wife or to my kids, and to our family. And so, and that's what depression kind of does, is it, it kind of closes us in, and
Yeah.
we get irritable, and then we don't want to go out. And so, again, it just, the cycle, once it starts, it's really important, like Tina said, have people check in on you and
Yeah.
those things to kind of just
Well,
help
and
you through that.
well, you guys know when you work with the public, you have to be on your absolute best behavior for them, even though they're the ones you want to choke most of the time.
Especially if you're on the radio,
Right, yeah. Radio, newspaper, that kind of thing. So you have to be friendly to them.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But how about, now one thing I did want to ask you guys, this is a little bit away from seasonal depression, but you guys had the open meetings, like walk-in meeting.
We had our walk-in clinic.
Yeah, how did that go, the
We had
first
our
one?
walk-in, we had one last month. We had a few people that came. We had our second one that was this past Monday, and we did not have a lot of turnout. So we had to, and we were very prepared, and we had 6 or 7 of our counselors were there, ready to go. So we could have seen a lot of people. We're really having to think about that, because we can't really tie up all their time on that Monday morning. They
Right.
could be seeing people. So, I don't know if it's just something the community didn't take part in right now. Maybe it was too early. Maybe it was something we were too, trailblazing on. I
Right.
don't know. We thought it was a great
I
idea.
think it's a great idea.
But I think it's just people didn't avail themselves of it, and we just are having to really rethink, can we really continue that?
Right.
And tie up our counselors with nothing to do.
Yeah.
We also had pastors there for pastoral support, so we were ready.
Because you guys already have a waiting list for
We
people
do.
to come.
We do have a waiting
see.
list, and we go through that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We do, because we have 7 counselors. They do have a pretty big load, but we do go through that list daily. And usually with counseling, it's not meant to be forever.
Right.
I mean, you come as long as you need to, but even like with the seasonal of depression or affective disorder, you might just want to start coming to get through the season.
Right.
Come 6 or 8 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Come every other week. I know Tiffany sees some folks bi-weekly. And as you transition, you might just come once a month for maintenance, or, and not you have to come to HARTT. There's other counseling places to go to, or just find you somebody that you can buddy up with.
Right,
Don't have to
yeah.
go to counseling,
Yeah.
but do talk to somebody, talk with each other.
Yeah.
Awareness is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely so. Now, you've got all your notes over there, so what's next on the notes?
Yeah, because this is radio thing is not my, not my thing. I'll just tell you the tips that I had on here, which we've already talked about. Some of the ones we hadn't talked about is creating a cozy routine, like at night, to kind of train your brain, so to speak. Like if you've ever had small kids and you did a bedtime routine. So adults need that too, actually, and so we want to create a cozy routine. Now that looks different for everybody. So with me, it's a heated blanket, and it's a book. For somebody else, it may be, I don't want a heated blanket, but I want to put on a record or something like that. And I know that sounds anxious, but that's totally coming back. And I just bought a new record player in August, and so and I love that. But it's important that we give our brain that signal that it's time to go to bed, because I don't know if you guys have been like me the past 4 or 5 days. I've been wanting to go to bed at like 5:30.
Yes.
Because it's dark and I'm not used to the time
Yeah.
change, and then I'm getting up, super early, and so we will adjust in those things. Another thing that is really hard for me to do, but you really want to limit that screen time at least like 30 to 45 minutes before you go to sleep. So I know some people use that to wind down, or so to speak, but swapping that scrolling for especially just a different activity, whether that's reading a book, whether that's coloring, meditation, anything like that, is a lot better way of just getting your brain in a routine of like, we really want to get that proper sleep, because when our sleep is messed up, it just messes up everything. And so it's just super important that we kind of prioritize that.
And I don't know, I really can't speak a whole lot about this, but my niece was telling me she got the new Hatch. Is it called Hatch? It's like a little alarm clock
Oh,
that
okay,
kind of sets you going to sleep, and like it gets you in those different slowly and different things, different rhythms, and then in the morning it also starts to slowly wake you up.
Yeah.
So she's loving it.
sounds good.
I thought I need to check into that. We just talked about that yesterday. So if anybody knows anything about that, they can let us know if it's working for them. But because sleep is a huge thing. It's a huge thing for me too. And if your sleep's off,
Yeah, and my daughter's doctor had told us that any noise in the room, your brain is like still going. Even if you're asleep, your brain's still awake. So you're supposed to have it quiet.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people, and I can't do this, but sleep with the TV on, and you have the flashing light. Even when you're asleep, you're still seeing
I do that.
lights, and TV and stuff
do
like
that.
that. I can't do that. I have
She
the,
doesn't like, because I was about to ask you, I said, what if you and your partner, your spouse, what if you have different routines
Yeah.
for sleeping?
I know that can be hard. You
Yeah.
have to find a way. I know that I sleep with the fan on for noise.
Yeah.
Whether I need it or not, I need that. And if we're ever even on vacation, I use the fan on my phone, the YouTube
Oh,
fan
just to
or
make the
whatever, just to
noise?
have the
Just
noise.
have
But
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
have the TV going or anything like that. That's not. My brain doesn't work that way, or the lights that you can still see. So if you're off, you may have to sleep with a sleep mask on,
Yeah.
or earplugs or something if your spouse or your partner is on a different cycle or something. But that does make it a little bit harder
Yeah.
when
It does.
She's really tired of Seinfeld, too,
Yeah,
because
all
that's
he
my
does
go to
is watch
sleep show.
Seinfeld, and so I'll lay down trying to go to sleep, and I'm playing the episodes in my head because I know.
You know every word at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I think also people that work split shifts, and rotating shifts, things like that.
Oh,
night
yeah.
shifts.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really hard.
Trying
And
to
a lot
get
of
back in that routine.
yeah. So if you're up all night long, then trying to sleep during the day in the daylight. So really getting whatever works for you, finding some things that work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, there is a sunrise alarm clock, Tina.
I
did
think
not-
it's that Hatch I'm talking.
Okay,
It's something
is
like
that what it's
I
called?
think
Okay,
so.
and that might be but I had on here from the internet, that it's a dimmable lamp, and it mimics the daylight, so it starts exposing you to gradual light once the alarm goes
Yeah.
off, and this helps you wake up
Yeah.
Yeah.
in those things.
Yeah,
So
I could be
especially on
totally
those cloudy
saying that
mornings.
wrong, but I think it's that same premise.
Okay.
Well, and I know there was an app, and it may be the sleep app or something, but you could listen to people reading, and like Matthew McConaughey was one of them.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, and so like you could fall asleep to Matthew McConaughey's
Yeah.
voice, and I think we did that once, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And it was
has
his
a good
voice.
voice.
He's
yeah,
got
yeah,
a
yeah, that's
yeah.
not that's not a bad way to fall asleep.
Yeah, he's
I
got
would
a
say.
great voice, even
Yeah.
for a guy, I must say.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I mean, and then I had read something, and it's something that I do too, is like squeezing a pillow or something like that. It's a really good comforting tool.
Yeah, I use a weighted blanket. That's not for everybody, but I like to use a weighted blanket, and so those are also really good things. Again, it's just like Tina said, you may have to wear a sleep mask. I don't know. So you do have to prioritize your sleep though, because it's going to help with that mood regulation and everything. So
Yeah.
it's
Little
super
thing that I do, I have a like a full bed heating pad. It goes
Yeah.
over my mattress.
Yeah.
And it goes under my fitted sheet. And so if maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before I go to bed, I just turn it up.
Oh yeah, so
So
that makes it real cozy.
When I get in the bed, because I like my house to be really cold at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like my bed to be warm, but I
Uh-huh.
can't sleep with it hot, but I like to get in it and it's so warm, and then, it's on a timer. So
Yeah,
I
it
just
has
turn
the automatic.
So I just turn it off,
Yeah.
but then I'm cozy when I get in the bed, but then it's really, then I got my fans going
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
air conditioning, it's just
Uh-huh.
crazy at my house, I'm sure, but,
But the problem might be in the morning, if it's that cozy, you won't want to get out of it.
I know. And my husband, he does get up earlier than I do. He starts to work like at 5:30, so he's up usually at 4. And I get up a little bit later than that to come in, so.
Now, what's your go-to album right now if you listen to music when you go to sleep?
Well, I don't listen to it when I go to sleep. I do use it to calm,
Oh, okay.
to create calm. My grandfather listened to a lot of Elvis Presley, so I love
Yes,
Elvis
that's
Presley.
me.
There you go.
I do enjoy Elton John. His voice has always just kind of calmed me. So, but it's a Elvis Presley kind of Elton John thing for me. So.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty good falling asleep music.
Yeah, I've got a couple of John Denver records and that. So I'm going through my grandfather's collection right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But
fun.
yeah, music is very therapeutic,
Right.
and it's some people like Elvis Presley and some people don't. So again, it's like with your sleep routine, it's just finding things that comfort you, finding things that can just put you in a good headspace.
Well, and each person's different, and like even with our children when they were small, each one had a different thing that they liked for us to play or sing when they would go to sleep. Our last one, Zuzu, she was all into like classic rock. She loved Creedence and
Jimi Hendrix.
yeah, Jimi Hendrix was a big one. And I mean, I'd just put her on my shoulder and she'd be out after once you turned on something like that.
How
you know?
funny.
Yeah.
And then the other ones would be different stuff, but it's neat that each person has their own little. This is what'll make me fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because my husband will be heavy metal, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not it for me.
I mean, I like some heavy metal, but that's gonna pump me up.
They have heavy metal lullabies, and we would play that at first.
Yeah.
Like the heavy metal.
They'd be
lullaby.
slow lullaby sounding, but it'd be like Inner Sandman.
But you'd hear the lyrics of like a heavy metal song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I mean, some people take a warm bath before they go to bed. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
whatever, just find something. But we're blessed with the Bankhead Forest. You can get out and do some,
Yeah.
just getting some nature. Even just our local parks, just walk. Really getting some sunlight.
Yeah.
I think is very important.
And I think one of the key things, and you see a lot of people walking at like Gamble and
Right.
Northside Park during the daytime on your lunch, if you can, or
Yes.
if you have a break, get out and walk around.
Yeah, and even like we're located at the first floor of Synovus, and so there's my office. I have no windows out to the outside, and so there's sometimes. Yesterday, for instance, when I got there, I didn't leave the building until I left to go home. I didn't eat. It was a crazy day. I didn't eat anything yesterday. But sometimes I'll just walk outside in the parking lot and just a minute. I need to be outside and get a few minutes of sunlight.
Yeah.
Just find a way on your break or your lunch or take a phone call outside or whatever.
Do you go bare feet out there too? You got to do some grounding.
Listen, I'm so funny. I cannot be barefooted. I cannot.
I thought with you growing up in Piney Woods, you're pretty barefoot all the
Maybe
time.
that's what trauma. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can be barefoot in my own house. I have house shoes everywhere. But yeah, if you can be out in nature, if you can,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Brian that talked about that last time, getting out or.
Oh yeah, I
in the-
think
in the-
Brian did mention
yeah.
grounding last time. Yeah.
It is important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you can always use grounding, even if because some people, don't have the opportunity maybe to go outside when they're at work. And so with grounding, it's in your current element, wherever you are, what can I feel? What can I smell?
Right.
What do I hear? And those things. And so even if you have a computer and you play some, birds or anything like that, it's what do I hear? What do I smell? What can I feel to bring me into this present moment and just, get a little bit of a break. So.
Yeah, you might want to get you a light to keep at your office.
Right, yeah.
And it's giving you a little bit of that. And
Or
then
like is that kind of what the salt lamps are like too for the
I
light
haven't-
that they
I
give
haven't
off?
looked into those, but they
I don't know about that
I don't know
either.
about that, but it
But
might
I
be.
take vitamin D every day.
Yeah.
Me
Just
too,
enough,
yeah.
They just put me on it because I was really low at my last doctor's appointment.
Yeah, so people can also get that checked. Next time you're going for blood work, just, hey, check my levels and see
Yeah.
what my vitamin D is.
And I think I read it this time of year, people's B12 is low too most
Right.
of the time.
Yeah.
And both of those things really control some mood and energy and things like that.
Right, and I think other things if you could just splash some cold water on your face sometimes, that can be, kind of get you back into like a reset.
Right.
If you're in a bad situation or something.
Right.
Like the cold plunges, that's
So,
the new
right,
thing
so
now.
same thing. If you can cold plunge, go do it. That I can also not do that. The other thing is some cold showers, or
Yeah.
even if you end your shower
With a cold,
with
yes,
a cold. You know, I'm
with
trying to
cold.
work up to a little bit of that.
Yeah.
We're,
Oh, it's so hard, isn't it?
it's so hard.
Well, I
It is
usually
so
do that
hard.
accidentally because I stay in so
Too
long that
long.
it turns cold.
Yes, I know. I
That
know.
is where a tankless hot water heater comes in.
I don't have one.
Not a paid ad right here. I'm just telling you.
I don't
There's
have
where
one.
the tankless
And
comes
sometimes it's
in.
hard for me to move quickly, so I'm going to get
Yes.
cold for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is good for you, and there are a lot of cold plunges now. You know,
Yeah.
we were on vacation a few weeks ago, and we were like having a little spa day, my daughter and I, and one of the spa things was you go into the cold plunge, and I got to my waist, and she went all the way
Yeah.
under. I was like, I can't do it. But then you went from that like into the hot tub, and then back and forth. You
Yeah.
know, and I think you probably could work your way into that, but.
I'm pretty sure my defibrillator would fire.
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah.
Maybe you don't
You
get
might
shot
not.
at.
You might
Problem
not
solve
need
it
to.
and let us know how that goes. Right. So there you go.
Well, hey, I want to remind everybody that we're talking to Tina and Tiffany it is Tiffany, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina and Tiffany from HARTT. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Live at 9 with James and Andrea Phillips this morning, and the ladies from HARTT. We'll be right back in just a moment on Live at 9 on WJLX. Welcome back in to Live at 9 with James Phillips here on WJLX. We've got Tina Aaron and Tiffany Stewart from HARTT in today, and then my wife Andrea is joining us like she usually does on a Wednesday.
Hello.
You got to be loud because I don't have a mic on you. We were talking in the break about it's holidays, family functions coming up, and how that can be such a stressful issue, especially if you've lost somebody or things like that. What are some tips for people as we go into this holiday season?
I think the biggest one, and probably also the hardest one, is having the courage to say no. That, you know, I'm not gonna attend that event. Like, I just can't do that this year. And so, you know, hopefully we have family members that understand that. There's obviously guilt. We feel a lot of pressure during the holiday season to not only show up, but to show up at our best. And so and we have to cook a lot of food, and we need to look a certain way, and we need to be happy in those things. And so that just contributes to that stigma that, you know, that you are just supposed to act like you're okay. And it's like, it is okay for you to say, no, that I can't do that this year. You know, it's just the loss of my family member has just hit me too hard, or the loss of my job. And so it's just defining that boundary for yourself, and then being at peace with that, you know, because not everybody is going to be receptive. There's going to be people that guilt you into, well, you need to be there, and
Right.
you bring the green bean casserole or whatever, and you're supposed to be there. And,
Right.
and, you know, and so it's just being okay with, I'm going to pass on that this year. I hope to see you at the next event, or
Right.
whatever that is.
Well, I mean, and people may be upset that you don't bring the famous green bean casserole, but they'll get over it.
They will, and there's always Cracker Barrel.
Right, right. And can I have permission, even if I do show up, that I can tell them I don't want to eat Aunt Agnes's, you know, veg-all casserole this year?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. But I think not just holidays, because like we were talking in the break, you know, because you've shared your struggle with depression and those things, or just days when we just feel off, you know, and you would just say that, like, I feel off today.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so I'm sorry if I'm not as joyful, or those things. And so I just try really hard to not have those expectations of everybody every day.
Yeah.
You know, and so we really just need to do better in general, because we truly don't know what people are going through. And we always just need to kind of pause with that and be like, you know what, I bet they're having a really hard time. And I may can show up and be just fine, but they can't. And,
Yeah.
You know, and respecting people for just saying, I just need a minute. I really can't do this right now.
Yeah. Well, I hate to give my buddy Adam Hicks any credit for anything, but he had a good sermon. It's been a couple months ago now, talking about lowering your expectations for everyone else and raising your expectations for yourself, you know. And that's something that we put our expectations on other people, so they feel like they've got to be there, even if they're not at their best. And that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to tell your loved ones, hey, I just can't do this today, you know.
Yes, absolutely. And then I always would say to my mom, like, if it was about a relative and I only saw them at Thanksgiving, and she'd be like, well, go up and hug them or whatever. And I'm like, we have to normalize these relationships outside of those holidays. You know
Right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, we put so much pressure on seeing this person one time a year. And it's like, hey, guys, like, if we really, really want to see this person and engage with them, then we need to get together more than just Thanksgiving. Or if we don't, that's okay too, but it's just, you know, accepting that.
Right, right. Because some people just aren't huggers.
Right.
Like, I didn't want to hug all my relatives when I was growing up, but that didn't mean I didn't love them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know them well. We didn't know each other that way. You know?
Right, and I think so important to me, because I've got little grands now, and, you know, we live in a world where everybody is not a great person.
Right.
You know, and we know children in our own community, the stats just from the Child Advocacy Center, how many kids they see that are being abused, you know. Too many times in the South, I think maybe more so because we're so polite and we're so hospitable, and go hug so-and-so, forcing our children
Right.
to hug and kiss somebody. They may not even know them, you
Right.
know, or they may not just be that personality that likes to be touched or hugged.
Right.
Or they may have had a trauma we may not even know about yet, because sometimes children don't disclose early. Please, people of Walker County, don't make your children just hug and kiss people if they don't want to, you know, because I think that can set them up to, if there is a potential predator down the road, that they may feel like, well, I have to hug and kiss people, or I can't talk about it. You know, we want to, I think, again, talk to kids ahead of time. There's going to be a lot of people here. Sometimes that can freak kids out, you know,
Right.
just there's too many people. There's a crowd. A lot of people don't like crowds, you know, and hustle and bustle and everybody's loud and that kind of thing. Let them know if there's somebody you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. And then tell the adults too, because adults can be rude sometimes, you know, or take it personally. Don't take it personally if you don't get hugged or kissed, you know,
Right.
or just kind of say that. I think we just need to be aware of mental health and aware of people's boundaries and help our kids to set boundaries and be there. Little ones too. I mean, really little.
Yeah.
Just don't force them to do things they don't want to do like that.
Right. Yeah. How about like kids making them sit in Santa's lap? That'd be tough for a lot of kids because they cry.
Well, they
you know.
make cute pictures though. I think my little 1-year-old grand had his picture made with Santa, and I think he freaked out.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so
Those are, to me, those are the fun. But it looks traumatic, but it's not near as traumatic as you
No,
think.
So
yeah.
I have a confession.
Okay.
Like, so I put my kid in Santa's lap like the first year or two, and he completely lost it. And so my husband and I were like, we're not doing this again. And so we took like a 4-year break of like, we're not going to do this in Santa's lap. And so, but now he associates gifts and Santa and those things. And so he's like, oh yeah, let's go take a picture. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, he
okay.
realizes.
Okay, but he came to that on his own terms, and so I feel like it's just respectful that we don't define what boundaries look like for everybody. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's just, you know, you have to do this, or you have to do Santa pictures, or you do have to kiss every relative at Thanksgiving dinner, and let's not define that. Let's
Yeah.
let everybody do, you know, what works best for them and those things, and I just think that makes everybody better.
yeah. And I think with the crowd, sometimes just overstimulation. It's easy. Sometimes I get overstimulated. I'm like, it is too loud here.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's too much going on. I can't handle all this. So just kind of be aware of that kind of stuff in your gatherings and are trying to hit 4 Christmases in one day.
Yeah.
That could be a little much, you know.
Yeah, well, with our family, with our family, if you do your kids' boundaries, if you understand your kids' boundaries and you try to respect that, and then the older generation looks at that and says, you're just giving them their way. And you're like, no, I'm just trying to respect their boundaries.
Because even as a small child, you can, like we're joking about the Santa photos, but like that was him showing his boundary. You know, I don't want to sit in his lap right now. So they can show you things that are uncomfortable to them, even at
Right.
2-3 years old.
Yeah. And they get fussy and irritable, and you know, and around the holidays, and they're going and doing all day long. And I think just give ourselves a break. You know, don't we put too much pressure. Now, fortunately, nobody expects me to bring food because I don't cook. So, you know, they're like, oh, if she don't come, they're going to miss those paper plates she's bringing, you know,
Right, yeah.
or the sweet tea or
I was
something.
going to say you
So
bring the Milos, don't you?
yes, I bring I'm not making it. I'm going to stop and pick it up.
Right.
But there's a lot of just pressure. And I think going into this, we got 2 big holidays coming up. Let's start preparing, you know, emotionally for that and letting people know where we are and take it down just a,
Yeah.
I mean, how many people probably right now already have, 'cause I know some of them, their Christmas up.
Oh, I was about to mention that because, like, on November 1st, on Saturday, I had multiple friends. I'd text them, say, hey, what you up to? Oh, I got to put the Christmas decorations up. Got to get them up today. And I was like, why do you have to?
Right.
That's just what I always do. I got it, but I have to do it today, you know. And it wasn't even like, hey, my spouse is making me do this. It was, I got to. I just got to.
Expectations. And I missed fall. I guess I didn't even put fall pillows out. I'm like, it's time for Christmas pillows. And I didn't even
Right.
put my fall pillows out. So it's that kind of thing that was just the expectation. And then, you know, if you're a Christmas person, that brings you joy, by all means do it, you know.
One of our daughters, well, I think 2 of our daughters
Our
actually,
daughters.
they, Halloween night, as soon as trick-or-treating was done, they changed into Christmas pajamas and slept in Christmas pajamas and listened to Christmas music.
Yeah, if that brings you joy, do it,
Yeah.
you know. I am not an early Christmas person. I'm just not. But whatever. But don't do it out of the expectation or the pressure.
Right, don't put the pressure on
Yeah,
yourself.
because then that just takes, to have the perfect tree
Yeah.
and the perfect
Yeah.
bows in it, Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
and
you get on Facebook and you see everything your friends are doing in
Yeah.
your life.
And it's perfect, and their lives are perfect, We just see Facebook, we see people's highlights.
Yeah, that's the A+ version of
Yeah,
everybody.
so,
yeah, and so that's why we call it, like, you hear people say doom scrolling. And so, this time of year is difficult for a lot of people financially.
Yeah.
And, I know that especially if you have little kids, you may not be able to buy them the gifts. That would be their first choice. And that is okay. And we need to make sure that, we don't, if we can't do that, don't get on Facebook and see that your neighbor or your coworker bought your kid the very thing, or bought their kid the very thing that your kid wanted, and then beat yourself up over that. It goes back to that, boundary. We all have different, financial means and those things, and so, especially if you're feeling some of that depression that we were talking about at the beginning of the segment, and then you get on, and then you're feeling down, and then you get on Facebook and you see, oh, their Christmas decorations are, elaborate and these things, and then you're like, oh, I can't do that for my kid. Do what you can. It doesn't have to be, look like New York City at Christmas time
right.
and the things that you see there. Handmade ornaments to me are more special than any store-bought ornament. They may not sparkle and glitter and those things, but it's just a cost-efficient way that you can, make memories with your kids, your grandkids, and still enjoy the holidays. But it does look differently for everybody, and just being respectful of that.
What most of the time, your kids like the simple things that you do, or the time that you spend with them. Or sometimes, like with us, it's an accident like we had the Christmas Story basically happen to us, where we ended up at a Chinese restaurant on Christmas one day, and that was what we did. We ate at the Chinese restaurant because we didn't have any food at home. I don't know who forgot to buy groceries, but
But you remember it, right?
yeah, and then we started doing that every year just for fun,
Yeah.
And on the years we could afford it, we'd go to a movie. But now it's now to go to a movie and take a bunch of kids, that's quite
This
the
is a
Yeah.
undertaking.
of a
Yeah.
purchase right there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I think if you can kind of be aware of your own triggers, if looking on social media brings you more sorrow than joy,
Yeah.
try to stop yourself from doing that, comparing yourself to everybody else's life. Again, it's not real. We're only showing the best of everything on those reels, and I think we were talking about this the other day at church. With this AI generation,
Yes.
you can't tell what's real,
Yeah.
what's not real.
Do you know how many times I've thought a bear has attacked an old lady on the porch?
Yes, and the alligator.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. She's not feeding that alligator on the front porch.
Right.
I had to look at that again. So all those things, they're not real. Or the women with the beautiful face and
Right.
makeup and buy
Yes.
this product and you look like men. Like, you've got 14 filters on there. You don't look like that.
Right.
I can't look like that. So just if you can't do social media, don't do it, delete it, whatever. Set yourself up for some success. Replace that with something else. We're in a Sunday school class right now, we're doing uproot and replant. There's some things we might need to uproot
Yeah.
that are not healthy, but then you got to replant with something else. Replace it with something else. Find a new thing to do, or whatever. Join a group.
Yeah.
We have a cancer support group today that meets on the 3rd floor of Synovus today at 2:00. If you've got cancer, or you had cancer, or your family member has cancer and you're struggling, come today. We'll have some Chick-fil-A, we'll talk, we'll meet, we'll support each other. We have other support groups that we do too. There's plenty of other support groups around. Engage, find things, go to church, call up that old friend, call up somebody, do something. Go to the movies, rent a movie, whatever.
Yeah. Watch an old movie you got at home.
Yes.
One that makes you laugh. One thing I did, and I don't know if you guys have ever read anything on this, I did see that if you watch something that you're very familiar with, if you're having a depressed time or you have anxiety, that it can be something that calms you if it's a movie you've seen over and over.
Yeah, I think it's because you know how it's going to end, and
Right.
so lots of times we get anxious over what we're worrying about, like the unknown.
Yeah.
We don't know how something's going to turn out, and those things. Yeah, so there's like you were talking about Seinfeld earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
How you kind of go to sleep to that, and so it's a sitcom there, or whatever that is for you, and so I think all those are great things.
Yeah. Well, guys, anything else that?
I'm gonna ask a question real quick.
Uh-oh.
How do you know what your triggers are? Can you be looking for things that trigger you? Just how do you realize that?
Are you talking about like in holidays specifically, or
Just like personally, how do you recognize what's gonna trigger you?
So, identifying triggers, there's several ways that you can do that. So, if you'll think about something that makes you really upset. So, for example, I taught high school in the county system for about 14 years. And so, teaching high schoolers it's not for the faint of heart. Don't know if you guys realize that. But
Yes.
I had a really hard time with the kids not, if they didn't say yes ma'am or no ma'am, and I would get very, very, very frustrated.
Mhm.
And so I was doing a class, and it was about how many of you get very angry if somebody's not respectful to you. I'm like, whoa, me right here, me right here. And so then they were like, okay, well, that's happening to you because you probably grew up in a house that prioritized manners. And I was like, yeah, like that was me. I had to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to my parent, or to my mom, and then yes, sir, no, sir to my dad. Thank you, please, and those things. Now, all of those are really good things, but not everybody gets so upset as I was, and especially in those early years of teaching, in like, ooh, I don't like this, but I didn't really know why I liked it. I knew it was disrespectful to me. But if somebody has grown up in a home and they weren't taught manners, and you were, then they will trigger you in those things. If you grew up in poverty in those things. And so you may not be in poverty now, but if you get anxious every time there's a bill that was unexpected, or even if you have the money, okay, well, then that's a trigger for you. And it's more so identifying why it's a trigger.
Mhm.
So just think about moments where you're anxious or angry or overly emotional, and think, what built this in me? How did I get here in those things? And so everybody's is different because we've all had different life experiences.
Mhm.
But it was like, it's going back to like what Tina was talking about earlier about, not forcing your kids to kiss and hug people and those things. And there's adults, and we live in the South, and people are very touchy and those
Mhm.
things. And so there's some people that don't want to be hugged. They don't
Yeah.
want to be touched. And they have a trigger for that, and it's probably stuff and trauma that you
Mhm.
really have no idea about. And so it's thinking in that moment, self-reflect, why do I feel so much anger or so much frustration in this moment?
Mhm.
And reflect back, how did you get that lens? Because everybody wears different lenses, and so it's like, how did my lens become my lens?
Mhm.
And so just like I said, like in the classroom, and then I had to realize, hey, Tiffany, not everybody grows up in a house to where somebody teaches them manners.
Mhm.
And it's really kind of unfair for you to expect every student to do this. So what you can do is you can model respect because they haven't saw that modeled.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think where there's an overreaction,
Mhm.
find out, try to trace that back. Why am I
Yeah.
overreacting?
Yeah, and you have to pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You have to pay attention to what your body is telling you, like if you're tensing up during the day.
That's right.
Just if you're like get irritated and you're not sure why.
Yeah, you start being mindful and making a conscious effort. I'm going to start noticing my triggers, and it's that. Is my heart starting to race? Am my palms getting sweaty? Am I clenching my jaw? Why am I overreacting to something that is nobody else is overreacting to this? And then again, you go back to, can I try to find there's a root to this? Again, I can uproot that, then replant it with something else. So yeah, being aware of triggers is very important.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of what, we do with cognitive behavioral therapy, which is all of our clinicians incorporate some of those techniques. And it's just identifying the thought. Where did that belief come from? How can we reframe that? Because you have to target it. You have to be like, oh, I want to stop reacting this way. And it's not just that easy. It's identifying what led me here. Why do I feel so strongly this way? And then in those moments, just consciously reframing, like, I am okay. This doesn't mean that every kid is disrespectful or so forth. It just means that they've not been modeled respect and those things.
Sometimes me and James will be like, there's a comedian, and he says, we're having a good time, a great time.
No, good time.
We're having a good time. And so me and James through the day, like, even if something bad happens, we'll say, we're having a good time. Just trying to tell ourselves that.
Well, guys, anything else from HARTT that people need to know coming up? You got the cancer support group today at 2
Today at 2
o'clock, and
o'clock.
that's no charge. It's
Oh,
free.
no charge, absolutely.
And
yeah.
you get Chick-fil-A
And you
even.
get Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
We might have some HARTT swag we'll give away too. Yeah, we just want to
Don't
support
forget
people.
about the light.
Yes, sign up, go to our website,
That's right. Go to the website.
And just-
Tell them the website again.
heartofwalkercounty.org, and just
Join the
join the newsletter, and that automatically enters you. We're going to give it away on Friday.
And we'll do another post around lunchtime today with the light information too, so people will remember to do that. Any other big meetings or anything that people need to know? They can always look at the social media pages, at the Facebook page.
So Tiffany's got a blog on our social media, on our not our social media right now, but on our website right now for seasonal affective disorder. So go check out our website and check out Tiffany's blog on that for some more tips and things like that, refreshers.
And always keep an eye on their social media because they do offer a lot of different programs for people. And if you see something that you think a family member or a friend could use and go to, let them know, because that's the best way to tell people is just word of mouth. So
Yeah, we're so happy to be a part of this community. So thankful for Tina and the opportunity she gives me. So if we can help you guys in any way.
well, thank you guys for coming. I'm sure we'll have you back in. If we don't do another one in November, we'll have one in early December. So
Okay, great.
To get people through the holiday season. So until tomorrow, I'm hoping that tomorrow we're going to have members of the Jasper High School band and their band director, but there's chance that the football game is going to be moved to tomorrow. So things might change, and we'll keep you updated on that on our social medias as well. Until tomorrow morning, be kind and love, and we'll see you next time on Live at 9 with James Phillips.